right, let's start. Well, traditionally, it's our tradition to honor our Swamis and Prabhachikas. Therefore, I'm going to start giving due respect to our respected Swamichis and senior monks, Prabhachikas, our nuns, our brahmacharis, dear friends and devotees. Welcome once more to Ramakrishna Monastery. This is our 66th 4th of July celebration. Yes. Since 1951, when that Swamiji's statue that you can see outside in our courtyard was dedicated, we've been holding these programs at Ramakrishna Monastery to honor and to celebrate Swami Vivekananda, our teacher. As some of you may know, Swami Vivekananda decided to leave his human body on the 4th of July, like today, but back in 1902. I would like to read some of the reminiscences by some of our monks, which are very interesting. And one more thing, Swami Vivekananda came to the United States for the first Parliament of Religions back in 1893. And his message and ideal can be put or expressed in one of his maxims. I'm going to read it to you. My ideal, indeed, can be put in few words, he said, and that is to preach unto mankind their divinity, to preach unto mankind their divinity, and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. To preach unto mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. It is something. Religions of the world have become lifeless mockeries. What the world wants is character. Character. The world is in need of those whose life is one burning love and selfless. The world is in need of those whose life is one of burning love and selfless. He had a great love, admiration, and respect for this country. It is recorded that while he was traveling in Egypt, he told one of his friends that he wanted to go back to India to die, and that he would die on the 4th of July. One day, it is recorded in his life, about a week before the end, the Swami Vivekananda, told one of his disciples, Swami Shuddhananda, to bring the Bengali almanac to him. On getting it, he turned over several pages, beginning at that day, and kept it in his room. He was seen several times on subsequent days studying the almanac intently, as if undecided about something he wanted to know. After only his passing away was the significance of this understood by his brother monks and disciples. Then they realized that he had been searching an auspicious day on which to throw off the bondage of the body, and that day he chose, of all others, was 4th of July. To honor Independence Day, he wrote a poem. He called it To 4th of July. To 4th of July. And now Swami Mahayogananda is going to recite it for all of us. Swami.
There are some seats in front. Please come up.
come forward.
There's a number of seats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see seats all over the place up here. So, Swami Vivekananda, we can call him a great apostle of freedom, how much he loved freedom. So our Independence Day, American Independence Day, naturally resonated with him too, because it is a day celebrating independence, celebrating freedom, the freedom of political freedom, of course, but it represented more than that for Vivekananda. It represented that ultimate freedom which is our true nature. And he wanted all humans, all beings, to attain that freedom, rather to know that they already are free. There's a couple more seats right up here. There's another seat here. So an interesting incident happened in 1898. He was traveling with his disciples. 2 Americans among the party. Sister Nivedita was there, the Irish woman, and Mrs. Oli Bull and Tantin, Josephine MacLeod, 2 Americans, and maybe another person, another American. So they were in Kashmir. And on the 3rd of July, Swamiji called Sister Nivedita, and they had a kind of conspiracy, as they called it, to celebrate the 4th of July, putting on a show for the Americans in the party. They called a tailor, and they had the American flag, the Stars and Stripes, crudely formed somehow with on short notice, and they brought some boughs and tree branches and decorations. And Swamiji wrote a poem to the 4th of July, which was read out at the early morning breakfast to the American disciples. Now, in this poem, it's a poem describing the sun. Actually, it's addressed to the sun, and yet it's not the sun, our ordinary sun in the sky. It represents the sun of freedom, that the sun as the symbol of the divine, which is ultimate freedom and is bringing freedom to all. And this poem expresses so beautifully Swamiji's desire that all should be free, all should know that they are free. So I'll try to read it out. I tried to memorize it, but I might have to refer to it. Behold, behold, the dark clouds melt away, that gathered thick at night and hung so like a gloomy pall above the earth. Before thy magic touch the world awakes, the birds in chorus sing, the flowers raise their star-like crowns, dew set, and wave thee welcome fair. The lakes are opening wide in love their 100,000 lotus eyes to welcome thee with all their depth. All hail to thee, thou Lord of light. A welcome new to thee today, O sun. Today thou sheddest liberty. Bethink thee how the world did wait and search for thee through time and clime. Some gave up home and love of friends and went in quest of thee, self-banished, through dreary oceans, through primeval forests, each step a struggle for their life or death. Then came the day when work bore fruit, and love, worship, love, and sacrifice fulfilled, accepted, and complete. Then thou, propitious, rose to shed the light of freedom on mankind. Move on, O Lord, in thy resistless path, till thy high noon o'erspreads the world, till every land reflects thy light, till men and women with uplifted head behold their shackles broken, and know in springing joy their life renewed. To the 4th of July.
Let us welcome now the head of the Vedanta Society of Southern California and our spiritual leader here at Ramakrishna Monastery, Swami Vivekananda.
Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Shurai Sachit Sukha Swarupaya Swami Tapaharine. Our salutation to the King of Renunciates, the light of light, eternal, Swami Vivekananda. Om, peace, peace, peace. Today, there is an announcement before I speak. Sorry.
I think you can all understand for the English the 4th of July has a slightly different flavour. Sri Ramakrishna says that what does a husking machine do when it goes to heaven? It husks. And so this is why I'm giving this announcement. I'm obviously a bookseller, and even on a great holy day, this seems to be what I have been designated to do. So this is another reminder. There is a really wonderful book on Swami Swahananda, for those of you who knew him, for even those that didn't. It's a very inspiring book, and it's on sale in the bookshop, and Dr. Das will be there to sign copies for people who would like a signed copy. It comes, for those of us who've helped and done a little bit of work on it, it comes highly recommended, and really brings back, for those that love Swami Swahananda, the feeling of Swami Swahananda. And we think of him particularly because on a day like this, because he was so devoted to Swami Vivekananda all his life. Thank you.
So we are here today celebrating the 4th of July, as we have just listened to the beautiful recitation of Swamiji's poem, which is dedicated to the 4th of July. And it is very pertinent that he selected his date of departure on the 4th of July. And he selected that day probably to present before the world the message of Swami Vivekananda is freedom. Freedom from all bondage, psychological, emotional, intellectual, of course physical. And he stands for that eternal freedom. He stands for strength. He stands for power, which is directed to the good of humanity, for the good of many, which gives a call, clarion call, to come forward and dedicate the life for the good of others and for one's own highest self-realization, the good of one's life. So we are remembering today this Swami Vivekananda, who is before us an example that how one can be self-reliant, how one can dedicate the life, how one can cry for the suffering people, how one become restless day and night to ameliorate the suffering of others. Swami Vivekananda was named another way. It is called, what was Vivekananda? He was love, L-O-V-E. Swami Sadananda, his disciple, told that in one occasion, that what to say about Swami Vivekananda is, if we want to say Vivekananda is nothing but he is love. But that love is not the superficial love as you understand. He said that even my guru, he carried my shoes over his head. And when I was not able to move, he carried me in that distress. So Vivekananda does not stand only for Sadananda to carry. He stands for all of us, to uplift ourselves from our littleness, pettiness, to arouse the consciousness that we are divine. As you have just heard that Swami Vivekananda says, in a nutshell, what is his mission? It is to preach unto mankind their hidden divinity and how to manifest it in every day movement of the life or movement of the life. It is a philosophy that I am divine. And it's not an only theoretical thing that is remaining in the scriptures and in the texts and the mouth of preachers. That does not make any value or importance to us. Can it be translated into our life? Can it be manifested into our life? That purity, that strength, that dedication, which is called godly. So, how to manifest the divinity, potential divinity, that was his call. Who was Swami Vivekananda? One day we find that Sri Ramakrishna talked about Vivekananda. He does not belong to us. He does not belong to the plane of the level in which we are living. He belongs to a higher realm. Even Swami Turiyananda said, after the passing away of Swami Vivekananda, that we didn't understand who was Vivekananda. We thought he was like one of us. And then he gave the example from the Bhagavat, where the example has been given about Krishna, that Durbhago Bato Loko Ayam Jadabo Nitaramupi Ye Shanvashantana Vidu Harim Mina Iva Udupam. As the fish in a moonlit night, in a clear lake, the fish plays with the reflected moon. Didn't know. The fish in his ignorance think that he is like another fish like us, a very bright fish, and playing with that fish reflected into the lake, and sometimes being jealous, sometimes fighting to that reflected fish. But he didn't understand when this night is over, and the sun goes back, the moon retreats, then I found that who was there, who gave so much life into our existence. So Swami Vivekananda was like that. It is very difficult to understand who was he, but I would like, because Ramakrishna Vivekananda, the obverse and reverse of the same coin, so to see from the eye of what was Swami Vivekananda. Ramakrishna talked about one of his experience. He says, one day, I found that my mind was soaring high in samadhi along a luminous path. It soon transcended the stellar universe and entered the subtler region of ideas. As it ascended higher and higher, I found on both sides of the way ideal forms of gods and goddesses. The mind then reached the outer limits of that region, where a luminous barrier separated the sphere of the relative existence from that of the absolute. Crossing the barrier, the mind entered the transcendental realm, where no corporal being was visible. Even the gods dared not peep into that sublime realm and were content to keep their seats far below. But the next moment I saw that 7 sages seated there in samadhi. It occurred to me that these sages must have been not only men, but even the gods of knowledge and holiness. So he found that there, Swami, this one of the sage, ancient sage, steeped into deep meditation, and there a realm of light took a form of a baby, child, and he embraced this old sage and whispered in the eyes, I am going, you must have to come. The deep samadhi of that sage was little he woke up from that samadhi with just putting his eyes open, and with a smile he nodded his head, and Swami Vivekananda is that who is beyond the level of gods and goddesses, and they call the transcendental level, where the non-dual existence and the duality are almost merging in that plane. He remained in that plane. That's why Sri Ramakrishna, he practiced his whole life, spiritual practice in all disciplines, realized the highest truth. He cried and wept for God. and he cried and wept for more for Swami Vivekananda. And Vivekananda, when Vivekananda accepted Swami Vivekananda, when he agreed to accept the mission of Sri Ramakrishna. What is the mission? Ramakrishna's mission is to preach the same divinity in all. That is the purpose. There is no, as Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda says, with the advent of Ramakrishna, all distinction between religion and religion, men and women, gods and demons, everything will vanish, because it is established in that oneness of that truth. So that is Swami Vivekananda came for them. So his mission, Swami Vivekananda was, Sri Ramakrishna said, what do you want? And Swami Vivekananda said, I like to be meditating and stepped into Samadhi. And occasionally I come out of the Samadhi and eat a little bit and go to Samadhi. And Sri Ramakrishna said, I thought that you will be like a big banyan tree. Under your shade, the people in the world who are tormented by suffering will take their shelter and get peace. And you are thinking so little that you will be in your Samadhi. So you will have to do mother's work, divine mother's work. And that is the mission, Sri Ramakrishna's mission. And one day it happened in the Kashipur Garden House. Swami Vivekananda got into that state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And when he came to Sri Ramakrishna afterwards, then Sri Ramakrishna said, now you got it. But the key will be with me. You first finish mother's work, and then it will be open. And that's why he said, when he will know that who he is, he will not keep his body anymore. So that was the date he selected for the 4th of July. By looking at the almanac and other things, we can link together these two incidents. But my point is that what is the mission of Ramakrishna? Mission of Ramakrishna is the incarnations come for the good of humanity. Whatever the evils of the society, to destroy that evil. That's why his contribution, Swami Vivekananda preached to the length and breadth of this country and to the world, that each one is pure. We are pure. We are essentially divine. And we have forgotten our divinity. We are not sinners. We do mistakes. We travel from lower truth to higher truth. What a change of attitude towards human being, thinking that we are sinners, we are evil doers, and putting this different idea altogether, that divinity, sinners, it is a sin to call a man sinner. It immediately lifts us from our littleness, pettiness, to our another divine character. Vivekananda came to give this energy back to us. And Sri Ramakrishna said, mother's work. What is divine mother's work? She said, Noren Shikhe Dive. Before his departure, his body is living, he wrote in a Bengali, in his own handwriting, Noren will teach. And Ghore, Jokhon Ghore Baire Hath Dive. When he will cry out in homeland and in outside. So he first did that Baire in this America, and then he went back and aroused the whole of India. Swami Vivekananda is the person who have changed the thought currents of the American people and Western people. One of the 20 people in the world, he is one of them. So see, that is Swami Vivekananda. He came undaunted, only to good to others, only to find the peace, how one will be freed from all limitations, and bridge the gap between religion and religion. He said, I have a message. As Buddha had a message for the East, I have a message for the West. And that is the message what Ramakrishna gave him, that the message of the dignity of human being, the inner potentiality of each human soul, not to undermine anyone other than thinking them they are living gods. And also, he put into our life the practical Vedanta. Vedanta was limited in the hands of few elite people or intelligent people, scholarly people. He wanted to broadcast it to the nooks and corners of every home. And then what is the benefit of that? That if we can bring that Vedanta into our life, then what will happen? Our society, our family life, our individual life, everything will be elevated into a different height and flight. That was the contribution of Swami Vivekananda. And that is the preaching what Swami Vivekananda brought it, inspired by Sri Ramakrishna. He didn't say anything of his own. Every word he uttered, it was Sri Ramakrishna's message. He said, I didn't say anything. It is only He. It is Lord. Anything, if anything there is valuable and meaningful, which has come for the good of the world, you know that is Sri Ramakrishna. And it is everyone is coming from that realization of the oneness with the universe. So, and how to live our life? Unselfishness. Why shall I be unselfish? Given the philosophical value that there is no other thing but only one, and that is me. That is called the Atman. Atman is manifested in everywhere, and that is called Brahman. So that if I am here, I am there, so to serve anyone, to do any good to anyone, you cannot do good to anyone, but you can serve only. Serve as God. Shiva Jnane, Jiva Shiva, the service of individual being, thinking that he is Lord Shiva. You are worshipping Shiva. So if this philosophy is brought into our life, just imagine, if husband thinks that I am serving the divine in my wife, wife thinks I am serving the divine in my husband, the father thinks like that to the child, child thinks about the father, what will be the condition of the society? What will be the condition of the country? What will be the condition of the global situation? We are now, every day we are worried. What is going on? What will happen? Why it is happening? Because the spiritual values have been lost. And that value to give, that only Vedanta can give that value. Equanimity in all. No philosophy, no sociology, no anarchism. Nothing can do that unity. Only to understand that it is same reality here and same reality there. And that is to be understood. That is the prime goal of our life. So how to manifest this into our day-to-day life is a unique opportunity for us. Swami Vivekananda gave it and preached and pronounced this so that we can make our life really an example to the society. So every day if we can think how to make this Vedanta practical, if one reality is everywhere, many, one and many are the expression of the one. Many are expression of one. There is one, even in scientific world, if we talk about it, it's all energy. Energy is manifesting in thousands and millions of ways. And Vedanta goes one step further. That what that one is what? That is the consciousness, not the energy. Energy, who is the energy behind the energy? That is the divinity. So Sri Ramakrishna lived for that, and he entrusted the responsibility to Sri Vivekananda, and Vivekananda spent most of his life, energetic life, in this country. And that impacted the whole world. So Vivekananda is for us. Who is Vivekananda? Vivekananda is a force. It is said that if a dying man listens to Vivekananda, then that man will say, "Death, wait for a minute, let me hear these words." And if a man who is in that condition, he listens to Swami Vivekananda, he say, "Wait," he will sit. Just get out of the bed and sit. And a sitting person listening to Vedanta, Vivekananda, will start walking. And walking person listens to Vivekananda, he will start running. It's energy. There's nothing but energy, divine energy. And he who thinks of Vivekananda, he becomes, energy enters into him. Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna said one day, "What are you doing, sir?" Sri Ramakrishna said, what are you talking? And he said that I am entering into you. The old spiritual sadhana, which history never have recorded that way. The world didn't know that one spiritual giant have ever practiced this type of intense spirituality. There's nothing but God and God and God. And God in this way, God in the form of Allah, God in the form of Hindu gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Kali, Durga, all types of everything amalgamated into one. And that experience, the profound experience, the deep impact of that entered into Vivekananda. And Vivekananda said, I do not know that Sri Ramakrishna has pushed into me that which is called mother. And she is making me restless and run all over the world and not giving me rest for a day even. And he died so early because of this tremendous dedicated service day and night. You can get a book, but it's called Chronology of Swami Vivekananda. Just a chronology. It has been recorded there what Swamiji did what day. Which day he was in Pasadena, which day he was in San Francisco, which day, at that particular day, what letter he has written, what lecture he has given. You will be surprised at what type of activity and sacrifice Vivekananda did for us. Vivekananda is ours. We must have to take that spirit of Vivekananda. As Ramakrishna entered into Vivekananda, and Vivekananda came into the world to enter into our heart. It is not that you should take a photograph of Vivekananda and start worshipping. He disliked it. He said that when I die, don't make a temple of me. And don't wave your incense, piddim. He said, Amar samne piddim ghorabi na. Don't wave the lights like this and boom, 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 bell. What do you mean? Does it not? We do that. We are ignoring his instruction. But no. What is the meaning? Yes. We want what? We want what he stands for. People, that is the weakness of human mind, that we don't take the ideal. Don't try to leave that ideal for which these great souls came. We make them, put them inside the altar and wave our incense and put some flowers and go away and do whatever we are doing. Swami Vivekananda said, take the idea. Take one idea in life and make it manifest. All truth will be revealed. So Vivekananda's idea is hope. We have hope. In this distressed condition of the world now, we need not be hopeless. It is we are responsible. We can change ourselves. One point is that is the difference. Yes, we always think that, some people think that I will change the whole world. That's good. Let them try. But after sometimes they will be feeling that, yes, I have tried, but I am tired. And death is knocking at my door. So better to change here. That's Vivekananda's call. Be a man of character. Be unselfish. Be loving. Giving. Never look back. দাও ফিরে নাহি চাও থাকে যদি হৃদয়ে সম্বল অনন্তের তুমি অধিকারী প্রেম সিন্ধু হৃদয়ে বিদ্যমান. In your heart there is the ocean of love. Give. Never look back. যে বা ফিরে চায়, if he looks back for return, তার সিন্ধু, the ocean of love, becomes a drop for his or her life. Give, the drop becomes ocean. That's the call of Swami Vivekananda. How can we give? In our day-to-day life, look at our miserable condition. We are crying and weeping every day. Why? I want something. I gave to you this much, and what you gave me back? This exchange rate should be high always. I give you $1 and you give me $50. So it's how can I serve? Because I am serving whom? I am serving me. God in the form of the sick, God in the form of people who are in ailing condition, financial crisis, emotional crisis. Go and help whatever way, never turn back. What I shall get, that is Vivekananda. Unselfishness is God, selfishness is death. That is Swami Vivekananda's idea. You read Swami Vivekananda, really, it is beneficial for our human life to read a person, at least to know there was a person who can be an ideal. We talk, we are talkers. But Vivekananda was an embodiment of what he talks. It is realization, compact realization, realization of all spiritual ideal. He said that in the Parliament of Religion, he said, if one religion thinks that they will survive at the cost of others, I pity on them. But this foolishness never goes away. But he stands for that unity, that harmony of all religion, all cult, all creature, all animal world, human world, divine world. Everything is to be tuned into one consciousness. And so he said that, I will conclude with this only one word. Swami Vivekananda, one letter was written by M., the chronicler of the Gospel of Ramakrishna. He wrote that, I came with humility. He wrote to Swami Vivekananda. They were contemporary in there. They said that, wrote to Swami Vivekananda, see, we came to such a person like Ramakrishna, who was the embodiment of all spiritual experiences, and coming and being trained and getting his blessing so much. What has happened? Nothing has happened in my life, as if I am not transformed into anything. What Swami Vivekananda said is very important. He said, you were a cow. You have become a man. You will become God. Cow means what? Cow only lives looking at the grass, eating, sleeping, dying, crying, weeping and dead. Look at that. What cow can do? Cow is born and grazes to where is grass, and then when eating is over, chewing the same cud, our day-to-day life, grinding of life, talking about the same thing, what happened in the office, what happened this man, this petty things of life. We live in that. Because we live in that, we have no time. We have no time for higher thinking. We do not know who we are. That's why he said, let us start there. We are all in that level. What Swami Vivekananda's expectation is here, that you will be man. What is man means? In Sanskrit it's called man. Manhush, manush. Manush is called man. Not women are not excluded there. Man means human being. So manhush, one who becomes aware of his dignity. Hush means awareness. Man means weight. What is my dignity? Is my dignity this body weight? Is my dignity? Or my feature? Or my little intellectual ability? How many intellectuals in the whole world? What intellectual ability one can gather? This is aware. Let me know. This is my higher identity is there. Not to spend my life only in these flittering things of life. Let us lift ourselves into that, and then to God and godliness, divine, and we are all divine. That was Swami Vivekananda's blessings. He says that he ultimately said that I bless you. He said that Shraddhavan ho, be faithful and respectful to yourself. Yourself means to your own self-dignity, no? I can do something. I can change this myself. I can change my character. This is the first point. Shraddhavan. Birjavan ho. Be a person of strength and energy. Spirituality is not for weak people. Swami Vivekananda wanted that power. Birjavan. Atmogyan labh karo. Realize your own divine nature. And Parohitayo Jivon Patra. Dedicate your life for the good of others. This is my Eyamaricha. This is my wish. And this is my blessings. Thank you.